Renee here, and today I'm going to show you how I make my patchwork folios. I'm going to use the Pattern Papers Mega Pack from the shop. It's got over 100 pages of patterns in various colours. I've only printed a few. Hello Larry. It's a bit early for an interruption. Yes. So let's get started. Right, I'm going to start off with these 5 pages, and basically I'm just going to cut them into different shapes, squares and rectangles. So I'll show you a couple and then I'll fast forward to being done. So there's no method to it, just pick a size and start cutting. Alright, so these are the sort of shapes I've got out of this first one with Larry's assistance. And I'm going to go and do that the same to the other 5 sheets, and I'll meet you back here after that. Right, I now have all the papers cut, and I also inked all of the edges, and I'm going to see if I can try and convince Larry to sleep somewhere else, and then we can begin the patchwork part. Alright, I've managed to convince Larry to sit in a tub just over here. And I've got all my cut out papers, and I just need a blank sheet of paper and some glue papers for gluing on. So I'll just move all these squares up out of the mat area like that, and so I can put my sheet here. Alright, so using a glue stick and picking any square, I'm going to start adding them to my paper. Just like that. And in order to keep a balance to the sheet, I'm going to put things on in 2, and I'm going to kind of try and put them in not so much always opposite, but just a balanced position on the sheet, so I think it just looks better like that. So next, oops, just throw my ink away. We're just going to keep going like this until we fill the whole page. liking how that's looking. So I should let this dry before I do any folding, but I can trim. Well, I should probably let it dry before I trim it too. I'm going to let that completely dry and then we'll be back. Alright, we're now dry and ready for the next part. So first I'm just going to trim the excess off around the edges. Okay, so if I was just going to use it like this, I'd just ink around the edges and that's a piece of paper ready to go for a journal cover or some tags, whatever you can think of that you'd like to use it for. But I'm making a folio, so I'm going to fold this in half. Now because it's patchwork, it wants to try and fold where the paper is. Okay, so you can see this bit's come up here, but that doesn't matter. It's just probably going to be better for us to just trim that off anyway. That'll be fine. Right. Try that again. It's still insisting on folding in a slightly off-centre position. Giving it a bit of a press. Press. That's better. Right, I want to give this a bit of a frame, so I've printed some brown paper, but if you have brown paper you won't need to print it. You can just use any brown paper or tea-dyed paper, or it doesn't even need to be brown, whatever paper you prefer. But I've printed some brown. I'm just going to trim off the edges. Now I'm going to trim some lengths. Might be easier measurement wise to do it like this. Now I just want to give a little bit of an ink on one edge. So I'm going to get my cover and I'm going to start gluing these strips of brown around the edges. So I'm just going to glue this one all over. And I want to put the inked edge in towards the centre of the folio. Move the brown edge up to the top, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit all the way across because it's going to be hidden under the other ones. So push that one down. I'm going to turn around and do the same on the other end. Glue all over. Inked edge towards the centre. Like that. Alright, next. Glue all over. Inked edge towards the centre. Like that. And last one. Inked edge towards the centre. Alright, where's this? Okay, don't stress if you haven't got that perfect or like I've accidentally trimmed too much off there. We can fix this all with trimming when we're done. But before we trim this edge, let's do what we're going to do on the inside. So, I want to pick some of the bits we've got left, and I only really want to cover around the edges and down the centre. So I don't need to waste too much by doing that. I'm just going to tear a bit down, bit of glue, and stick it on. And then just pick another one and keep going. Alright, next we want to get those brown papers that I printed earlier. I've already trimmed this one out a bit. I need to find where the centre is. Let's give this a bit of a fold again. Let's do it this way. Okay, so roughly there. I've just made a little crease with my nail so I can identify where I need to trim. To move you up a bit. And is that big enough for the other one? It's a little bit too small on that space. Is there enough on here? Got a bit of ink on there. Could probably get this out of here. That way, and this way. Okay, a little bit of ink around the edges. Alright, and then making sure I got that right. Yes, that looks good. I need paper for gluing. Glue on the back of this. Sorry, I'm having to work a little bit off the side of the camera with all the gluing, but we have to make accommodations for our fur babies. Hands up anyone else who has a fur baby that insists on your craft space is their sleep space. Alright. Now, getting that as central as I can. Pop that down like that. A bit of a tissue in case I've got ink on my fingers. I don't want to just wipe smudges all over it. And do the same for the other one. Alright. Please don't rip, please don't rip. Rip to touch, but we will hide that when we do the pockets. Lining that up so it's central as well. That was not central. Try again, please. Gently remove. Okay. And there we go. Where's my tissue? I haven't quite got them in the same place, but once you've got the pockets on it, and I've ripped that even more, once you've got the pockets on it, you won't notice those. Right. Have to pocket there considerably. Alright, we'll figure it out. So, now I'm going to do the trimming from before, but I'm going to do it folded now because I want it to be even all the way around when it's closed. So make sure I get it all lined up on the mat. No, Puggy, there's no room. There's no room at the inn. Pausing for cuddles. 5 hours later. Alright, let's try that again. So, lining up. And slicing with my sharp blade. Same on the other end. Lining up. And trim. Like that. And edge. Okay, so now we have those all trimmed up. I'm going to do a little inking around the edge. Right, now it's time for some pockets for my folio. I'm going to find out which way up I want it, which way I want the front to be. I very much feel like that is the front. So, I've printed some other papers on a slightly thicker paper, so this was 160 GSM, and I just need to decide which ones I want to make the pockets out of. I don't think green. I've already got blue in the edge, so not that one either. By blue I mean the same blue pattern. Can't grab it. I think I'll just go with grey because then the ephemera will stand out a little more. We don't want the folio's nice, but we don't want it to be the star. Or we do, but we want the ephemera to be standing out when you open it. So, I'm making this to be an ephemera folio. Just going to trim the edges off this pattern paper. Alright, so first I want to figure out, this should be In fact, what I'll do is use a ruler. So I want the pockets to be around the same width as the brown piece, but not, it doesn't matter if it's a bit off. So this is a little over 13.5 millimeters, about 13.7. So I'm going to add a couple of centimeters on that. I'll just do 16 centimeters, sounds good. That should be plenty. Going to mark with a pencil. I'll do it up here as well so I can get a straight line. And I'm just going to trim that. So that should be how wide I want my pocket, and I like that being the up direction. So I'm going to 1 centimetre for the folding, 4 centimetres for the pocket. So I'm going to do a 5 centimetre cut here. And I'll do a couple more while I'm here because I'll put a few pockets in this. And another one like this. Okay. Now bringing back the folio for a second, I'm going to fold one side in. Oops, Larry has evacuated. Yay, space! One side in like this, and holding it up here, I'm going to fold the other side in like this. So that'll do. And then I also am going to fold the bottom up a little bit as well. Once I've put those 3 folds in, I'm going to use my scissors to trim across this bottom corner like this, and just a small bit on each side like this. And then I'm going to use my pressing tool to press it down more firmly on those folds. Now before I put this in here, I'm going to find where the middle is. So there, mark grey on grey, not that easy to see. And I'm going to do a little punch out like that. Time for the inking. All around the folded in edges and across the top. I'm using some of the art glitter glue, whatever your stronger glue is that you like to use. Try and clean that nib a little. All around the inside of these little folds. Just like that. And then I'm going to pop that there. Press. So that's one pocket. Now, because I have done some damage over onto the side here, I mean, normally I'd just pop another pocket up here, but it's a bit high. It's not going to leave me much space. So maybe I'll be a bit creative and make some kind of cut to make a sort of tucking side pocket. So let's experiment. I've not done it before. Let's give it a whirl. So I don't want the pattern to be in a different orientation, so I'm going to grab this other bit and maybe mark here. Just put this mark on this side so I can maybe draw. Don't know, do we want it to go straight? Do we want it to be a bit of an angle straight? Do we want it to be curved? What do I want? Maybe we just want it to be a triangle. Maybe that'd be easier. Big triangle. And tuck things up in it. Clip things on it. Yep, I like that idea. Let's do that. So, how far down is the damage? Let's do it to about here. So how far is that? We'll call it 7.5 centimetres. I'll do it on the back and then I can draw a line. Let's call that there, and then same measurement up here. 7.5 centimetres. Draw a line between the two marks. But I also need to fold this in, so I've got some flaps to glue. So let's rethink before we cut. Fold, fold. And then we want to measure, let's cut this corner off so it's not in the way. Cut. And then we want to measure 7 centimetres now that we've folded it. Ta-da! So, or 7.5 I think it was. So 7.5 is now here, and here. So now the cut line is there. Alright, let's do it. Cut, cut, cut. Let's find where the middle is and keep the pattern for pockets going with a little notch in it. Alright, inking. Oh, let's press it a bit more. Press, press, press. Ink, ink, ink. So I'll put that there, and then I can just tuck some things in there maybe. We'll see how it goes. Let's give it a whirl. And ta-da! And let's do another pocket on the other side. So in order to make it look even, I'm just going to mark my fold. Let's just put it on top. So pencil here, pencil here. Make a score line between those two marks so it will fold where I want it to. Oh, I'm so sorry. My camera ran out of juice just before I put this last pocket on, but it was just the same as putting on the first, so hopefully you can forgive this. Now I've just got some ephemera together that I was going to fill this with, so I'll pop this on fast forward and you can see me make this folder filled with ephemera. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!